Oh, awesome. So Tanay, the way we could do it is I'll give a quick intro, and then I already sent you a couple of questions, so we can go over it, and then lastly we can take like one, two audience questions at the end.
Yeah, for me, anything works for me. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect, cool. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining in. Today we have Tanay Pratap with us. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know him as Tanay Bhaiya. He's the founder of Invact, which is an online MBA program, and NeoG Camp, which is a job-oriented coding boot camp. He's transformed a lot of students' lives using both of these. You can clearly see on Twitter the number of testimonials which state the impact that both of these programs have been having. Recently, Tanay took the leap of faith to start up full time. He left his full time job at Microsoft and is all into Invact and NeoG. He's also been dabbling recently with metaverse and has been seeing how it could be sort of how it could lead to the next generation of education in India, which is something that I am super interested about and would love to know more about. Thanks a lot, Tanay, for taking out time. Glad to have you on the server.
Hey, Harish, thank you so much. Thank you everyone who is joining. Harish, also want to thank you for such a nice introduction. Can you please write it and send it to me? Sometimes people want me to introduce myself, and I don't have such nice words to say.
Oh
So
yeah,
thank you.
definitely. I'll write a paragraph and send it to you.
That would
Uh,
be great.
so Tanay, recently I was scrolling on Twitter and I saw that you aren't really happy with the current college education system, especially, right? I was just curious to know. I think a lot of us know that generic college education in India is not that great. But why do you think people still opt for it? And later on, as a second part, do you think people should drop out? What are your thoughts on that?
So why people opt for it? Because alternatives are not great, right? College at least gives you a degree, at least gives you a peer group, at least gives you some structure in life, right? And definitely helps you grow in one or other ways. Like at least you face some of the worst days of your life there, so you grow up. You become a man or a woman from a boy or a girl. That's how college shapes you. So why people are going? Because there's no alternative. I feel that's why everyone is going to college. Should people drop out? That's a very loaded question. I think there shouldn't be a generic answer to it. If you have figured out something in life while in college, and your degree, your learning is stopping you from pursuing it full time, like you are Zuckerberg and you have figured out Facebook, do drop out. Yeah, there's no point of staying for that degree. But if you have nothing, just to be a rebel, why would you want to drop out? Like if you have something figured out, drop out. Otherwise, don't. Again, very generic answer, even this, but yeah, make good decisions. Don't listen to someone who comes on a Discord server at Saturday 9 p.m. and take life decisions. All of this is just advice, by the way.
That's right. Curious to know, how was your college experience? Like, what was the mindset back then? Did college help you?
Yeah, so why I'm so unhappy with college is because college did a really bad job for me as well, right? So I come from a very modest family, and my family had to go through a lot of trouble to put me through college, and I had like I was programming much before college. I was a geek much before college. So I thought, college will teach me something, and it will take me to the next level of stuff. And I went to college, and wow, it was such it was such a disappointment, and disappointment at the cost of what? Disappointment at the cost of a lot of money, a lot of time, a 75% attendance rule, useless disciplinary rules, right? So everywhere college was trying to basically not help me, actively not help me, right? And at that time, like in 2008, when I went to college, we didn't have this kind of internet penetration, or these kind of OCW, the MOOCs, right? MOOCs came in 2012. Before that, there were not these many MOOCs and things like that. So I had very high expectations from college, and that's the kind of high expectation I want to fulfill through the programs which I run. That if you come here, you have to learn, you have to grow. You should go out and rave about your educational experience, and not like think about it. Yeah, if everybody would be talking so bad about Zomato or Amazon or Flipkart, would these e-commerce sites survive? I don't think so. But colleges survive, even though I think the NPS rating overall for college would be 2, and that 2 also would be for friends and not for college education. Like if you go to my Twitter, there is a tweet which is like the most liked tweet, and I have pinned it just to prove that point. It says, the learning, the education part of college has failed all of us, and 6,000 people have liked, hundreds of people have retweeted. So it just resonates with everyone, right? It's living proof that the engagement on the tweet is living proof that the colleges suck worldwide, not just India wide.
Got it. I think even in terms of startups, usually a personal problem is what instigates someone to go out there and solve for that problem. So I think,
Right.
your personal college experience could be one of the reasons why you started NeoG Camp and make it like purely job oriented and outcome focused.
Yeah, definitely. That was one of the big reasons to do that. Otherwise, like I know, I mean, when I went to MIT Manipal, there were rich brats, rich kids. But I know a lot of people, like not a lot of people, like maybe 90% of India, parents have to struggle and have to put their life savings to send you to college, right? It's not just कि अरे हाँ पैसा है चले जाएगा. It's very deep thing for everyone, and then the college dupes you, it gives you subpar placement, subpar education, subpar environment, teachers, everything. So I mean, I'm way too angry about the way colleges are being shaped. I think मतलब 420 ही का धंधा है यार पूरा का पूरा.
Yeah, definitely. I think, Tanay, I think all of us can agree on the part that most colleges don't have a good outcome. And, things that are taught aren't super relevant.
Right.
But another reason why people attend colleges is to meet people, right? Like college is this conducive environment where you're forced to socialize with people, you're forced to make friends, and they could potentially become your co-founders, they could potentially become your colleagues, or they could potentially, push you forward, and you can learn a lot from these people. And that's something that's missing in MOOCs. That's something that's missing in a lot of these online programs. The social aspect, like meeting someone in person, is just beyond a Zoom call, right? So, how do you think online education could solve for that? Like, what do we do for peer learning?
Harish, this was a great question, man. It feels like we have scripted this and you are setting me up for success. So thank you so much. So every time I talked about this, and by the way, 131 people who are listening, first of all, thank you so much for joining us Saturday evening. I know I'm not that entertaining, but this was not scripted for sure. So, so every time I told about this, right? Like if you see my feed, Twitter feed or Instagram feed from past 2 years, I've been like, college is bakwas hai, college is bad, college is bad. If you graduate from a college, you are not a graduate, you are a graduate. We came up with different kinds of marketing and everything. And every time I said that, someone from a bits, someone from like a good college would come and say, what about the experience? Are bro, that is 1%, yeah, that is top 1% experience you're talking about. What about the 99%? Talk to the people who have gone for an MCA, for an MSc, or anybody who has gone to like a subpar institute after rank 50 of or rank 100. भाई बहुत colleges in India में, and the people who have voice on Twitter or on LinkedIn are from top colleges. So that's why they dominate the conversation, saying no, this is about experience. What about finding your co-founder? अरे कहाँ ज्योतिलाल मेहरा रामलाल एबीसी कॉलेज में किसको co-founder मिलता है यार? वहां तो they don't even think about their TCS is a dream job there. क्या there is no aspiration. So problem is that the top 1% who is getting everything, who has got the voice because आप बिट से हो, आप IIT से हो, आपको सब लोग फॉलो कर रहे हैं, एंड यू हैव दैट एंटरप्रेन्योर स्पिरिट, तो आपको लगता है कि यार मेरी तो दुनिया बड़ी अच्छी है, तो दुनिया यही है, मुझे जो दिखे वही दुनिया. बट द वर्ल्ड इज वेरी डिफरेंट. You talk to folks in my Discord server, you see how people are so badly treated about colleges, matlab. And this is just engineering, MCA, MSc, BSc, these are like even worse, like 5 year WILP program. I'm sorry for ranting, but WILP का प्रोग्राम आता है विप्रो का 5 year का, and they pay 17,000 rupees for 5 year, just in the name of that stupid master's program के नाम पे. So everybody is duping it, and the top 1% says नहीं, but यार college नहीं तो क्या होगा, 2 साल का MBA नहीं तो क्या होगा? अरे भाई तुम किए, तुम, the world is beyond that top 1%, but the top 1% always controls the narrative through media, through social media, through everywhere else, right? So that is the problem, Harish. I'm sorry I ranted a lot, but at the same time, this, all of that negative force was good. It made me think more, and that's why I think the metaversity will solve that problem. You will meet people, you will have a real like or university like immersive experience, and that too at a fraction of cost with some of the best educators from around the world. And I think thank you everyone who pushed me to that corner, so that I came out fighting. And I think that's going to revolutionize how we think about college education or overall education also.
Super interesting. Now let's talk about the 1% that you spoke about, right? Which is bits and IITs and NITs and colleges like that. Why do
Yeah.
you think you use the word top 1%? Like, what makes them maybe the top 1%? Are they just good at test taking skills, or is there something more to it?
They are good. Like top 1%. I tweeted about this. Offended some of my colleagues also from IIT. They are basically top 1% test takers. एक time था जब आपने जो भी top 1% है, you put your head down and you work really hard, right? And that could be because you have been a topper for all your life, or you know how to work hard. You are So my theory is intelligence is basically sum of what you have, what experiences you have in life, and what kind of push you have in life, right? So आप ज्यादा push किए तो आप पहुंच गए वहां. It doesn't mean that the next 10% is not great. That those are really smart. कितना डिफरेंस होता है यार, 10-12 मार्क्स में तो आईआईटी में रैंक 1 से कहाँ चले जाते हो आप? 20 मार्क्स में तो खत्म हो जाती है आपकी रैंकिंग. और फिर यही है सेम जगह. तो you saying that person who's getting 100 is much more smarter than someone who's getting 80? I don't believe that. So it's top 1% test taking, and also the grit. So I respect the grit of going through that kind of preparation. And that's where, understand this, that's where that's what companies also want. The Microsofts, the Googles of the world, they know that when you come, you have to work very very hard, and you have to basically learn everything from scratch, and it is going to be tough. So वो जो आपका पूरा DSS signaling है, जो आपका पूरा interview signaling है, it's all about grit. Like who has more grit? Whoever has more grit gets out. So I think it's more about grit than intelligence, or rather there is some bits of intelligence, but it's definitely not a clear signal around intelligence. I'm sorry if I'm offending like people from bits here, or I am here, but सच है तो सच है भाई. Or at least I feel it is the truth for me.
Got it. So, if you think that in terms of smartness, there's not a major difference between any college student, then why is it different? Why is it difficult for them to sort of network and find a smart peer group?
यही है यार, आप जिसके साथ हैंग आउट करते हो, whoever you start hanging out with, you start learning from those people, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very subtle and surreal, right? You don't realize when it's happening, right? So there is always in your mindset, तुम्हारे दिमाग में ये डाला गया है कि अरे यार तुम आईआईटी नहीं जा पाए, तुम बिट्स नहीं जा पाए, तो तुम्हारे में वो बात ही नहीं है. सोचो कि वो
Mm.
at 15 years, 17 years, at 15 years you start dreaming कि मुझे आईआईटी जाना है. At 17 years you fail, and then you see your other friend or someone or शर्मा जी का बेटा getting a photo in a newspaper कि भाई आईआईटी गया मेरा बेटा. अच्छा बताओ, दुनिया में इतने लोग आईआईटी गए हैं. Every year 5,000 people plus go to IIT. Do you know everyone's name? Is everyone successful? सारे वो 5,000 into 50 years जो भी हैं, मान लो, right? Do we know 2 lakh people name कि वो कितने successful है, कहाँ है? It's basically signaling. When you see someone successful, you see, अरे they are also from IIT. तो इसका मतलब IIT सक्सेस, तो मैं तो नहीं जा पाया, तो मुझे तो थोड़ा तो वही मेरी हीन भावना आ गई. I just started feeling it. I am not up to the mark, and I am telling all of this by my own experience, because even I had that for a very long time. And then when I went to Microsoft and I was working with IITians day in day out, and I'm like, yeah, इनको भी ऐसा कुछ भगवान ने अलग नहीं बना के भेजा है. We are all enough smart, and there the work proves दूध का दूध पानी का पानी हो जाता है वहां पे. So it's basically systematic in society. It just drills you into your mind and then you land up with friends who are not that smart. But it's not that ki non-IITians do not shine. I mean, yes, there is Sundar Pichai, but yes, there is Satya Nadella also, right? Who is a non-IITian and is leading Microsoft, right? So ऐसा नहीं है कि it's just कि आपको IIT का ही signal है. There are other signals as well, but uh, होता है यार. It's very psychological, and you have to like deeply think about these things and maybe go through it. आप तो नहीं गए हो, आप तो bit से हो.
Got it. So I interact with a lot of students from, tier two, tier three colleges. So I do know sort of the signaling part of it. Like at least for your first job, I think having like a tier one college degree really signals to the companies, because
Yep,
India is a very populous country, right? People
yep,
cannot go to every single college, and
yep.
therefore it just makes it much easier for them to go to an IIT or a BITS, which already has a good signaling, versus going to like a Jai Shri Taram College,
Yeah, yeah,
for example, right?
yeah, yeah. I
Um,
agree, and I don't blame the companies there. They are
yeah.
they are into they are into building a business and being a founder. I understand how hard it is to build a business itself, and you cannot fight battles on all fronts. So उनको जहाँ मिलेगा they will go there. But at the same time, I have seen companies now hiring from Neoji with such
Mhm.
numbers. They would not care about your
Fair.
college if they get another clear
Mm.
signal, beacon of कि oh my god, this kid is amazing. वो signal बनाने की बात है बस. So I
Correct.
I,
Correct.
I don't blame them for that. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I think right now a lot of startups just are looking at the building capabilities over the signaling part, and I think the
Right.
transition might happen pretty soon. All we need to find is like what's the most effective way to channelize it and let the companies know that, hey, for
Right.
example, Neoji Camp, like people know that it exists, right? But there are a million other students out there who aren't known. There's a lot of untapped potential in them, but companies don't know
Right.
about them.
Right. So definitely, it's a huge problem to be solved.
Yep.
But at the same time, there is an MVP which is working, and other
Hmm.
people are also jumping in, and we are doing more MVPs in other areas, right? Design, product, MBA,
Hmm.
all of that. So I think हमें ही करना पड़ेगा ना. मतलब country हमारी है, problem हमारी है. So we can't import a solution. We have to create a solution here itself.
Fair. Tanay, getting back to your second venture, which was Invact, uh, what do you think was wrong with MBAs right now, and what problems it's solving?
I think MBAs are good.
Mhm.
To be honest, I think the top MBAs, IIMs, and all. I feel that their filter is pretty good, and the people who come out are smart, awesome. Work with them, very closely in Microsoft. I work with IIMs, IIM grads from almost all the IIMs actually. Right? So definitely, उनका filter तो अच्छा काम कर रहा है. But my problem was that again the 99 percentile. So जिसको 98 आया, 97 percentile आया, are they bad? And if not, then where are they going? And say they are going to different colleges. Okay, what about 95? What about 94? So at some point, what happens is you don't have a great college, and you have a really bad college. Still, you are putting in 2 years, and you are putting 20 lakh rupees, right? So if you like, I went to shiksha.net. उनके पास ऐसा पूरा there is this whole 100 top 100 colleges का list है, and then in top 100 colleges what placements you are getting against what fees, that list is there. So I was seeing that list and I like कि अरे तो मतलब this is really bad deal. Again, same like engineering, now you are getting into MBA. Same, you are getting bad deal if you're not a top 1%. So definitely a really big place to help. And I had solved the engineering problem, so I had some ideas ki startups won't mind. And I started talking to hiring managers, said that hey, there's a proof of work approach, I'm thinking towards MBA. And I did a lot of spaces there. I asked people point blank on Twitter spaces, I will give you two resumes, I will not tell you which one is from IIM. How will you know which one is from IIM? And there were no answers. Basically, definitely, once again, college was a signal, right? Not
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
smartness, not anything else. So I said,
Mhm.
okay, then let me create an alternative signal for this as well. And so
Fair.
that's where this approach came back. And I talked to Manish. Manish also resonated with it. He came up with his own ideas, saying, hey, Ivy League doesn't do like that. Like Ivy League, you don't have to be the top 99 percentile. It sees your overall life, overall proof of work, very differentiated approach. So I saw the entire Wharton admission process because he was part of admission committee there. तो काफी brainstorm किया हमने. And then we felt this is a huge piece, and India definitely need more builders, right? And builders can't just be programmers. It has to be program design, product, MBA,
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs, everything, right? And I think the more we create on the top, the more it will solve problems for everywhere else in the country. So that's how the MBA idea came up.
Super cool, super cool. Now, Tanay, like, are you planning to run Neogi Camp and Invact at the same time?
Yeah, NeoGCamp, though it's so NeoGCamp, I designed it as what do you call, as not something which would consume all of my time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was there, and Invact also is like I don't have to teach Invact, but I'm creating the metaversity, more of a CTO slash CPO position, if you call it, right? So that's how these things will run. But what I see is down the line, maybe Neoji becomes part of Invact or something like that happens. So let's see
Got
if
it.
the metaversity picks it up, then so nothing like it. So that's an experiment right now. So we don't know which way the experiment will land, right?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe the metaversity you can have two departments, one for MBA, one
Yeah,
for
yeah.
engineering.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so the metaversity idea is that you will have engineering, MBA, product design, writing, growth, all kinds of school, right? And the best schools, and now that we know how to get people placed, right, from proof of work signals, we can help people land great jobs and also help them create those signals. So the way I see it is, Invact MBA or NeoG or any other thing is just helping you create better signal, your proof of work, and nothing else.
got it. When you say metaverse, do you expect people to wear like an Oculus or a VR headset, or do you expect it to be somewhat like a game, maybe like Fortnite?
uh, so it's still in works, Harish. So I can't
Got it.
like
Oh, no
I,
worries,
I
no
can't
worries.
tell you what it will be, but I think it will be a mix of everything. It will be a mix of your phone, your laptop, your VR device, your tab. So you can access metaversity from any place, and depending on the form factor, you will have a little bit of differentiated experience, right?
Got it.
That's how we are thinking and planning this.
Got it. Got it. I think that's really cool. I would love to try it out when the beta is out. Um, So, Tanay, I think right now, at least for Invacta and Neogi Camp, as far as I was able to see through your Twitter profile, you run through a cohort-based model, right? Where you take a
Right,
certain amount of students and then give live training over a course of period and then get them placed.
right,
And I think one of your missions is to democratize this, as you said, like maybe give access to all tier two, tier three colleges. How
right.
do you plan on scaling this? How do you plan on bringing this cohort-based model to millions of students?
So this actually we have been pitching to VCs, right? So this question has been asked multiple times
Yes,
too.
yes.
So so I think, see, the scale is very simple. The scale is already there. It's there for MBA colleges. It's there for the DPS of the world, right? It's there for the engineering colleges. So people want to teach, right? And students want to learn, and once the course is created, you all you need to find is like good teachers, right? People who can deliver the content with as much uh, as much experience as possible, and that's pretty easy to scale. Like, you get good teachers, you have a platform, you have everything in place, and from there it's very much like, I don't have like a very near example, but think of it like Amazon, right? You have different sellers. Still, there, the platform is there, but people are involved, right? There is someone who's packaging, someone who's sending, someone who's listing the product, someone who's buying the product. All of that is there, but platform has helped it scale and has made it uniform experience for everyone. So that's where the metaversity platform kicks in. That it
Interesting.
makes sure that everyone has uniform experience, and we can basically know what a user or a student is going through all through the learning journey, and help him or her at every point possible.
Got it. Got it. I think, yeah, as you rightly said, right, like hiring quality teachers is going to be the differentiating factor because I think that's why, companies like Karan Bajaj's White Hat Junior also slightly fell apart because as they scale, they had to hire more teachers and the quality drop of the teachers happened. So I think that'll be a very interesting problem to solve from your
No,
end as
but
well.
but in like I don't want to comment on anybody else's business model
Sure,
because
sure.
see the idea is how much profit do you want to make out of a business, right? Like if you
Mm-hmm.
make our view is that if you make teaching sexy again, right? If it
Mm-hmm.
is one of the most highest paid jobs,
Fair. You'll get
people
good
would
people.
just people would
Mm-hmm.
just come. And if you have enough margin because you're operating at scale, it's again
Mm-hmm.
it's how startups work, right? If you're operating at scale, you are providing placements, you are providing and there is no real estate cost, right? We don't have to pay rent, we don't have to do anything. It's a virtual university wherein you would have the same kind of experience but without that additional cost. So you can keep the cost down for students, but at the same time you can pay teachers good and you can still make some decent enough money to run the business. So it's basically कि आपको कितनी भूख है और हमें as a business we are not that hungry. We want to create value for the entire ecosystem, and not just for a company, because a company which creates value only for the company also goes down the drain very fast, right?
Got it. Yeah. Fair. 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 Yeah. I think Alt MBA and even STOA are in a similar field, right? But you guys are trying to make it more immersive using Metaversity, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, also I think Alt MBA is a very seniorish kind of thing. STOA also is little bit senior, and we are trying to help the undergrads who are coming out to get into good jobs early on. Also, the approach, the pedagogy is very different, very proof of work approach. And I think most of this you will see when you see it. The idea is that, how a programmer shows his or her portfolio of work, or a designer shows
Mm-hmm.
his or her portfolio of work. An MBA should also have a portfolio of work, and that they will show
Mm-hmm.
when the course gets completed. That's how we are building it.
Super interesting. I love the concept of signaling using proof of work. I think probably in the future it might just replace college signaling, and I think this is a
No,
very good
so
first step.
I was telling this to a VC actually, Harish. Right,
Yeah,
this is already happening in industry.
for sure. Yeah.
Right, I'm not coming out with something which is not there. So see what happens if you are from IIM, right? You get your first product manager job or your first marketing job or something. But then when you apply to Google, everybody who's applying to Google has a great college name, right?
Yes.
Now the college name is not a signal. So what does
Mm.
Google do? It will give you a case study, right? To do a
Mm.
case study. Now that case study is nothing but your proof of work, right? Why can't we just front load that work to graduate itself and say, hey, here are 10 case studies which I have done. And I'm telling this to everyone who's listening. If you have like five good business case studies, business plan, marketing case study, strategy work, anything, sales objection matrix, these things which you are creating, if you have like that, please write to tanay@invac.com. I have a very lucrative job waiting for you. Because if I see that kind of proof of work, if I see those case studies, I would hire you. When we talk to our hiring partner, they said, "Ki yaar, bro, aur kya chahiye?" I mean, these are good enough signals. If someone can write, these docs and think through that, and in an interview defend those thinking processes, those mental models, nothing like it. What else do we need? So that's the
Yeah.
idea. It's already happening. We are just front loading it.
Yes, 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 definitely. I mean, even at BlueLearn, except for me and my co-founder, none of us are from bits. Like everyone else, we just hired through proof of work, and I think that's what speaks way more than what a college tag might.
Yep. Yep.
Cool, Tanay. In the interest of time, I would love to speak for longer, but this is my last question, and then maybe we can take one audience question, and then I'll leave you. What's your definition of financial independence? You've been in the industry for a long time. What do you think? Like, because of folks like Nawal's philosophy, a lot of students are inspired by this concept of financial independence, right? Of this concept that one day they'll be financially independent. What's your definition of it?
My so actually a great question, Harish. Nobody has asked me this question till now, and I tend to not talk about it much. But my theory is very different. Like I thought I became financially independent when I got a job which I loved, right? Because in my mind, if you are not if you don't work, right? If you don't have a job, if you don't have something to do, fulfillment नहीं आती. I mean, think about Sachin Bansal, right?
Mm-hmm.
अच्छा खासा he got an exit. why is he still working? Navi
Yeah.
karke, he has done a startup.
Yeah.
Think about
Exactly.
Elon Musk. Think about Bill Gates. All of these
Mm.
people have financial independence. No, Bill Gates is the financial independence kisko hai bhai, right? But he's still doing it. So the thing to understand here, which you don't understand as a 21-year-old because you're following, Andha YouTubers and everyone else, ki financial independence is a sad goal to chase because it's a sad goal because when you get it, you will not feel fulfilled. Like you will still fulfillment comes through impact, and that's where people like your like your right heroes, your Elon Musk and your Bill Gates of the world, they are chasing impact and they are not chasing financial independence. Because financial independence तो कभी हो गया था. I mean, all the partners in A16Z, why are they still working? तो कब when they sold the company, they had financial independence. So my financial independence also happened a long time back, right? I had so much of Microsoft stocks and all that. मेरे को जितनी जरूरत थी, I would have gone to a tier 3 city and I would have lived my life आराम से वहां से. So my financial independence is as long as you are not working for money, but working for impact or working for your love of work, you are financially independent.
Got
Money
it. Yeah.
shouldn't be your primary motive of work.
Fair.
That's all.
Fair. I think it's all about keeping the flywheel spinning and creating impact, and then this sort of becomes a byproduct where you're just able to sustain yourselves. So that's fair.
Yeah.
All right, Tanay, superb talking to you. Thanks a lot for taking out time. Would you mind taking one audience question?
No, I won't. I won't mind. I will just let's have a question for sure.
Awesome, awesome. Cool. So, guys, if you have any questions, just raise your hand. I'll bring you on stage, and you can straight up ask a question to Tanay. All right. Tanay, how much time do you have? I'm sorry, I overshot
I
the
have
time.
like 5 to 10 minutes
Fair, fair.
max.
ठीक है, ठीक है.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Mahaprasad and Abhiram, one of you guys can start.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, sir. You are.
Good evening, Tanay.
Good evening.
It's been a pleasure listening to you. So my question to you is, given that even you have been into Web 2 for a long time, this is again a first year randomly asking question. Is
Mhm.
that obviously, given that we are into people talking about blockchain is the future and how Web3 is going to
Mhm.
revolutionize everything.
Mhm.
My question is now, obviously, as of now, the whole technology has some flaws with it, right? The other day you
Right.
spoke about that in Varun Maya's video.
Right.
So do you see this being solved in the future? And the next question is, now since most of us here are first year, second year students, do
Mhm.
you advise us to, pursue the shiny fields like AI, blockchain and stuff? Because I've seen you tweet about it, about how we should not be going after, the next big trend and stuff like
Right. Right. No, I think that's a great question, and I maintain the stance that don't go with the trends, because if you follow, you're following people on Twitter who are talking about, say, blockchain is the next big thing. Just go to their 2 year back timeline; they would have been saying this is the next big thing, and go to 4 year back, they would be saying this is the next big thing. How many of those things have panned out the way they were predicting? So prediction is very easy, right? And blockchain is not. This is not the first time this whole hype has come. This has come and gone in 2015, 2016. I was here when blockchain hype was going on. Again, as I said in the video also, I think the technology has a lot of promise. But since it has attached money to itself, there's just unnecessary hype which is not letting people do real tech dev there, right? And I think, yeah, as you said very rightly, Mahaprasad, the problems will be solved, but it will not eliminate, or it will not engulf whatever is happening with Web 2 or today for Android development or iOS development or things like that. So I would, if I were you in first year, I would not try to, just jump and touch the moon. I would first make a solid grounding, right? Buy a house, get married, all of it, and then once I'm done with it, I'll say, hey, let's do interplanetary motion and things like that, right? So do not like, my sincere advice request is, all the hype aside, please work on your basics. Be a good software engineer first. getting into Web3 will be like a piece of cake, right? I mean, you saw my YouTube video, which I did with Madhavan. It took like
Yes.
9 to 10 hours to do it. And then Madhavan himself tweeted that you are in the top 99 percentile of the Web3 developers now, right? So you can see it's very easy once you are a good software engineer to pick up new tech. But please have a solid grounding in being a good software engineer before getting into this hype, man. I'm really scared of how this Twitter and everything is hyping up Web3, and it will just ruin people's career. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. Thank you, Tanay, for your time. That answered a lot of questions. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mahaprasad. Abhiram, you wanna go next?
Yeah, sure. Hey, Tanay.
Hey,
So
hi,
my
Abhinam.
question is very, yeah, my question is also very similar to that of Mahaprasad. I have watched a video with Varun Maya as well, and
Mm-hmm.
also after watching another video of Ranveer, uh, the guest has spoken about the the metaverse, where he said all the big companies as well as the startups, they're all gonna start at the same level once again. It's not like,
Okay,
for example, Meta doesn't have an advantage over any other company who's trying to build their presence in metaverse. Everybody has
okay,
to start from scratch.
okay.
So, but I have so okay. He also gave a few proofs for that. He said even though they possess so many data points,
Mm-hmm.
which they gather to the existing apps or platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Metaverse is a totally different experience, and the kind of data points that we already have do not really apply to Metaverse. So they have
Mm-hmm.
to again gather all of it from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, so okay, so here he's saying everybody has great scope and opportunity to once again build a great massive company like Facebook or any other big giants. Uh,
Right.
so how do you gonna think like I don't see a particular path I don't see particular direction where can that can I follow and rely upon. Yeah, his proofs or his point of view made sense, but still it is not that clear. So how do you think a startup who is trying to get into metaverse can take initial steps?
Okay, that's a great question because I'm having the same problem, Abhinam. Okay, so I think I think whoever is peddling this agenda that everybody would have a fresh start by tell that person that distribution matters. Whether you have B2B distribution, B2C distribution. I mean, if someone understands business, they understand that the the cost of shifting from one technology to another or one piece of software to another is so high that people are still using mainframes even after 40 years of it. So मतलब ठीक है. I mean, some people drink from Kool-Aid and then they go, but have like I think solid understanding of business and how world works. So there's a difference between how the world works and how you want the world to work. You want the world to work in Web 3.0 decentralized way, but the world doesn't work like that, and it's not gonna work. Not gonna start working like that overnight. So it will take some time, and I think if it start working like that, definitely Meta will have uh, through the sheer number they control on devices and distribution, they will definitely have. I mean, this is like saying the Clubhouse was a fresh start because nobody was doing audio there. Now, what happened to Clubhouse? We are doing it on Discord because Discord had distribution. We are doing it on Twitter Spaces because Twitter Spaces had distribution. Oh, Facebook pe rooms ban gaye. Everybody started doing it, right? So yeah, Clubhouse still has a good piece of the pie, but still it's not controlling the entire piece. So I think solid business understanding is definitely needed when you are making these kind of assumptions or more like prophecies. I think so. That's one part of the answer. Okay, don't think that it's all the same and everybody has that huge potential. And that's why the second part is if you are a startup in metaverse, I think you should still care only about one thing, not about being a metaverse startup, not about whether you have tokenized everything or not, or whether you are truly decentralized or not, or things like that. What you should think about is with whatever tech I have, whether it's the identity piece, the immersion piece, the decentralized piece, right? Whatever tech which metaverse promises, what can be used to create the best experience for my user? And only the startup which creates the best experience for the user will win. वो यूजर को तो यार घंटा फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि whether you are this or you are that. It's just the woke people on Twitter, like the 500 or few thousand people who care. But the जनता है ना जो talk to your mom and talk to your dad and talk to random people who are not on Twitter. उनसे पूछो कि मतलब आपको फर्क पड़ेगा कि आई एम चार्जिंग यू फॉर एवरी ट्वीट एंड आई एम चार्जिंग यू फॉर एवरी रेडिट. तो ऐसी ऐसी प्यारी प्यारी गालियां आएंगी कि मतलब so I create value for user. If you are in metaverse, your end goal is not a metaverse user. Your end goal is still the user, because that's how a startup should think about scaling. Not ki mera cult, my cult will follow me, because cults are always small. You have to create your own user base. So that's my advice. I'm not sure how helpful it is, Abhiram. Did I answer your question?
Oh, yes, Tanay, you did.
Cool.
So, but yeah, I think you haven't answered this question. So, being a startup, how can I enter? Okay, fine. You said not to completely focus upon metaverse.
Right.
So, what technologies that I can explore, which can actually help me, or that can complement me entering metaverse?
So see, one thing I'll tell you is do not focus about the hype. Do not focus on technology. Facebook was created on PHP, still runs a lot on PHP, still the biggest, one of the biggest companies of the world, right? Nobody cares about the technology. If you want to be a startup, you should only and only care about your end customer and creating value for that. That should be the end goal. Whether it's metaverse, whether it's C sharp or JavaScript or Java, इससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है कि क्या आप what you are using to create something. If the end user is happy, you are happy. If your end user thinks decentralized token or tokenomics is very much important for this experience, then go for it. Don't try to solve the problem with technology. Like it's very बहुत अच्छा the saying is that if you have a hammer, all you will see is nails. So don't have a hammer. Go and see what the problem is, and then use the right tool to fix the problem.
Okay, cool. Oh, so you're saying to focus on the problem, not the medium through which you solve it.
Yep. Go and
Got it.
find a genuine user problem, very genuine problem. See if you can create a trifecta there. There wherein you win, your user win, and an ecosystem is created for other people to win. That would win. So there is some promise in the whole metaversity. I'm saying in the whole metaverse of that happening. But I would say do not try to find a problem for a solution. Try to find the problem first and then find the right solution. और वो problem ऐसा होना चाहिए, आपको पेन होनी चाहिए, उससे दर्द होना चाहिए. मतलब कोई पूछ दे तो ऐसे चिढ़ जाओ आप सैटरडे रात को 9 बजे कि why is engineering bad, why is MBA bad, ऐसा कुछ कोई पूछ दे तो दर्द होना चाहिए आपको. If it's not paining you, you will not be able to solve it at scale. Is what my thinking is. Again, I am not like a very big startup founder. I'm just sharing what I'm figuring out with all of it. So all of it is anecdotal. Take my words with caution is what I would say.
Yeah, sure, Tanay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abhiram. Harish, I need to go now.
Oh yeah, sure, Tanay. Super hosting you. All the best for your startup. All the best with your fundraising journey, and looking forward to the product in the next couple of months, probably. Thanks,
Yep.
Tanay. Have an amazing
Thank you,
evening.
Harish. Thank you, Abhiram. Thank you, everyone who joined. This was a lovely evening talking to all of you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining in. Hope you had fun. Do let us know which other speaker we should be getting. And also, since there are 109 people, and since even Tanay spoke about networking, it'll be super cool if you guys network, right? So let us figure out a better way of networking. There's a channel called Startup Talks. So under business, there's a voice channel called Startup Talks, which has a unicorn icon in front of it. So join that, and you guys can meet each other, have a chat,